whispers of the death hospital. They called it Whitaker Memorial, a red brick hospital squatting at the edge of town like a bad memory that learned to breathe. The county sealed its doors 15 years ago after whispers of volunteer trials that weren't really voluntary and outcomes that never reached discharge. Tonight, 4 of us, Sarah, our lead, John the skeptic, Anna the empath, and Mike, meat and tech guy with a backpack full of lights, stepped across the police tape, anyway chasing a hook our subscribers would never scroll past Death Hospital. The wind hissed through broken panes like a leaking respirator. Somewhere beyond the lobby, a warped ambulance siren rose and fell, then slowed down as if dragged underwater. Our boots scraped on grit, each step answered by a hollow echo that chased us down the corridor. "Keep your beams low," Sarah said. Dust reflects. Mike clicked on the 1200 lumen flood, and the lobby arrived in a hard, whitewashed, toppled wheelchairs, a check-in desk clawed by time, a mural of smiling nurses, half-peeled like a grin gone wrong. A missing kids flyer still clung to the bulletin board under plastic names faded to the color of ghosts. Mike's lamp gave a steady electrical hum, a clean thread of sound in air that felt thick enough to chew. "This place is content," John said, rolling the camera to stabilize. "You can smell the RPM." "It smells like mildew," Anna muttered, pulling her scarf up. She was a nursing student before she was a YouTuber. You never quite shake hospital instincts. Her pupils dialed wide, reading the room for something more than clicks. It was easy to frame what we needed. The hallway beyond the lobby stretched in a perfect vanishing point. Linoleum bubbled from flood ceiling tiles missing like knocked-out teeth. On the left, a lightbox directory, radiology, pediatrics, oncology, and in a different font like it had been bolted on later research ward. "Bingo," Sarah said. "We start there." Somewhere down the throat of the hospital, water tapped steadily. Plink, 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 metronome, patience counting us in. A rusted ceiling sign creaked on a single chain, complaining in a tired metallic sigh. We shot our intro in the lobby, Sarah in frame hair pinned back, flashlight under chin, the word Whitaker over her shoulder like a warning label. "We don't trespass for fun," she said into the lens. "We document abandoned places before they're erased. Tonight we're investigating reports of noises, moving instruments," and she let the beat breathe voices in the vents. When she said voices, a ribbon of static curled into our headsets, a soft shh, like an absent nurse trying to hush us. John lowered the camera. "Okay," he said. That was a coincidence. "Coincidences don't try to talk," Anna said. Her breath fogged the beam. She was the one subscribers trusted. She didn't invent fear, she acknowledged it. We moved. There's a way hospitals are haunted even when they're alive. The rituals of hygiene, the weight of families, the price of hope. Whitaker wore it all but upside down. The further we went, the more the signage drifted thin and unofficial type directives, taped over original placards, arrows leading to doors welded shut. The click of our tripod legs folding and unfolding ricocheted off tile and glass. A metal basin nudged by, no one rolled off a cart and struck the floor, a bright ringing clang that felt like it could cut. "Mike?" Sarah asked. "I didn't touch it," he said. He didn't look away from the cart. He looked at the space beside it where the basin had been, as if absence could be guilty. We aimed for research ward. The door wore 2 locks, one broken, one engaged. Mike produced a tension bar and a rake pick like he'd been born with them. "Old deadbolts are honest," he said, "more to the lock than to us. They tell you what they need." The pins gave tiny clicks, a delicate rain of sound, and then the bolt retracted with a low, satisfying thunk. Inside smelled like vaporized vinyl. The floor plan tightened, fewer doors, thicker glass. We passed a decontamination shower and a storage room, where plastic sheeting still hung like molting skin. The walls bore clipboards, sheets of data, still legible drug names reduced to initials. Dosage lists that marched like soldiers toward a date, circled in red. Above us, ductwork sighed a long exhale that didn't match the wind outside. From somewhere deep, a faint intercom tone chimed once lone and off-key, and then dragged itself into silence. Anna paused at a viewing window. The glass looked into an operating theater, a ring of lamps, like a halo fallen onto a stainless table. On the far wall, brown rosettes stained tile in a constellation. The pattern wasn't splatter, it was deliberate. Something had been brushed there with a flat tool repeating. Words wiped away. We filmed it all. We didn't say blood. We didn't need to. A surgical lamp flickered, buzzed, steadied its ballast, waking itself without power. John laughed too loudly. The laugh bounced back at us and came back thinner, stretched like a rubber band about to snap. "Don't," Anna said. "Don't," what John asked, but he softened. We moved again. The research wing ended in a set of double doors with wired glass. The push bar bore fingernail marks, half-moons worn into paint. Through the glass, we saw the elevator lobby, an alcove with 2 doors and an old brass-framed floor indicator, its arrow stuck between 2 and 3. Power was cut. Any movement would have to be something else. The elevator pinged, a clean, bell-bright note that slid a degree flat at the end, like the sound had been taught wrong. Then the cable above us whispered a dry rope, rub a sound we felt more in our jaw than our ears. Mike's neck went rigid. That's not possible. We can acknowledge the impossible without endorsing it, Sarah said. We keep filming. Static feathered through the corridor speakers, a snow of sound that collected in the corners and then melted away. Behind us, somewhere deep in the operating theater, a tray of instruments trembled and gave a quick, thin, rattle metal kissing metal, and then, deciding it was embarrassed, we reached the alcove. The elevator doors were scabbed with rust, but clean in 2 places where hands had pressed often. If you leaned close, you smelled wintergreen, the memory of disinfectant. The call button sat dead, no light inside its plastic jewel. Basement, Sarah said. Records are always in the basement, or bodies, John said, and then gave a smile that said he knew better. He didn't. A draft moved through, carrying a sound like paper shuffling, as if an invisible clerk were filing grievances one thin sheet at a time. Anna tipped her head. "Listen," she said. A voice, not words, just a gentle sibilant slid along the duct above us. Sarah. We all heard it. The name wore a hospital hush, spoken the way a nurse says, "It won't hurt," because saying it quietly is what makes it believable. Sarah steadied the camera on her forearm. She kept it pointed away from her face. "I'm fine," she said. "It's fine." Somewhere overhead, something small dripped and hit the elevator roof. Tick, 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 a coin on metal. When the doors finally opened, it was not because of any button. They simply unsealed in a slow, sticky peel, revealing a black mouth and a floor that seemed an inch lower than it should be. The car smelled like heat had once been trapped there and had only just stopped struggling. As the doors spread, the walls on either side emitted a gritty scrape paint dusting down like sand through a sieve. "Basement time," Sarah said, and stepped in first. She always did. Mike rolled his shoulders under the pack. John framed the elevator interior with a slow pan. Anna ducked in last, turned to face the hall, and raised 2 fingers to the lens. Wait. Behind her, the corridor offered a last sound, the faraway throb of that wrong ambulance siren, returning as if the building were remembering how to ache. The doors slid shut. Inside the car, a speaker above the panel spit a single word in a broken whisper. Down, shredded by static so badly, it sounded like teeth on foil. Then the brake coughed and the cable tightened with a low, steady growl, and the car began to descend. Document everything Sarah said. You don't get to be brave and dumb. She didn't have to say the rest, that Whitaker had already decided we were here, and that whatever lived in its bones had been waiting since the day the county locked the doors. Somewhere in the shaft, something tapped the car's skin, 1, 2, 3, like knuckles on a sheet metal coffin. And we went down. The elevator's brake kept up a low, throat-deep growl as we sank past the numbered hash marks, each one passing with a soft, metallic tick. Somewhere inside the panel, a dying speaker breathed static, faded like a failing pulse. Basement, Sarah said. We get what we came for, we keep moving. The cable above us answered with a brief, dry shiver, as if the building had just remembered our names. The doors parted to reveal a corridor not meant for families or flowers. Pipes ran like exposed veins along the ceiling. Numbered valves stared down like dark eyes. Ammonia, steam, oxygen. The paint on the floor formed twin green lines, leading away one marked records, the other and to labs. Behind us, the elevator doors closed with a rubbery kiss, then sealed with an airtight thunk that landed in our bones. We set our lights and filmed a slow pan. Everything in the basement felt closer to the hospital's heart. No decoration, just function. The camera loved it, but something else loved us back. A distant ventilation fan coughed, failed, then spun up into a thin, breathy whine that had no power source we could see. From the far end, a steel cart rolled an inch of its own casters and let off a staccato chirp like a small animal warning its pack. Records first, Sarah decided, then labs. John nodded, lips pressed, eyes on the viewfinder. Mike checked the live mic levels. Our footsteps made a soft, watery slap over areas where the floor had blistered a slow echo, sloshing down the hallway. We found the door labeled Archives, frosted glass, wired mesh, and an administrative sternness that survived even after the county yanked the power. Mike tried the handle, locked. He studied the cylinder. From the ceiling, a valve gave a single fat drip that hit the concrete with a hollow plop, a punctuation mark in a sentence no one wanted to read. Give me a minute. He knelt tension bar out. His backpack squeaked where a strap bit down. The pins inside the lock clicked in a delicate ladder, then the cam rotated with a soft, pleased sigh. The room smelled of wet paper and long-closed breath. Shelving angled like ribs, and between them bankers' boxes with typed labels, Trial Up, Trial D, Trial E. The date stamps ended the week before the hospital shut down. Above the shelves, a caged bulb hung dead. As we stepped in, the metal cage around the bulb rattled faintly, as if something small had brushed past it. Anna gravitated to a lower shelf. She always did this, palmed the history like it might pulse. She lifted a folder labeled E Protocol Auditory Analgesia, Sacral Compliance Study. We filmed over her shoulder. The pages were clinical target pain blunting via sustained tonal exposure. Consent implied by continued presence. Note heightened compliance under frequency X. Side effects tinnitus, dissociation, loss of voluntary silence. Somewhere outside the room, A soft intercom chime chimed once too clean for this place, and then unraveled into a papery rustle along the ducts. "Audio," John said quietly. They used sound. As if in answer, a strip of paper on a nearby clipboard fluttered with a dry whisper that didn't match our airflow. "We're not alone," Anna said. "Not for views, for truth." Sarah flipped another folder, patient logs. Entries handwritten, the script looping, desperate. Day 19. They keep playing it. The note that crawls. I tried to block my ears, but they strapped my hands. Day 22. The needles go in when I stop listening. Day 24. I learned to keep still. In the corridor, something rattled metal on metal. A tray drawn slowly over rails, a drawn-out scrape that made my teeth want to hide. "Labs," Sarah said. She placed the folder back gently, the way you put a stone on a grave. We followed the green line to labs. The doors here had gaskets, and the windows were double-glazed. Half the signs were printed on office paper and laminated cheaply, then taped crooked injection bay auditory suite anesthesia storage. As we paused, a fair-off emergency alarm tried to bark out a patterned beep, 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 and failed on the third tone, staggering into a broken hiccup. Anna touched the glass of injection bay. Inside cabinets lined the walls. Syringes and trays sat under dusty polycarbonate shields. IV poles leaned like tired sentries. A tiny, high-pitched ring came from the far corner, like a tuning fork struck softly out of sight, too pure to be mechanical. "We keep this fast," Sarah said. 10 minutes tops. We stepped in. Mike swept with the flood. The flood's ballast gave a low hum, steady as a mantra, and somewhere in the room, the sound picked up a harmony, the air itself humming back in a thin, eager thread. "Levels?" Sarah asked. "Clean," Mike said, but his voice had that sawtooth edge he got when the tech behaved too well. The door behind us side closed on its own hinges, a quiet rubber seal kissing into place. Our headsets hissed once with a quick breath of static like a clipped gasp. Dr. John said, camera cutting to it. "It's fine," Sarah said, though it wasn't. "Keep rolling." Anna reached a cabinet labeled disposables. She lifted the lid. Inside, rows of syringes, capped some still in sterile pouches. A paper tent card read, Trial E Extended Use. From the ceiling, the building made a sound like a swallowed burp pipe settling. That's what we told ourselves. Anna's breath went shallower. "They punished silence," she said. "They made noise the medicine and also the weapon." A soft whisper threaded past us, almost too faint to catch hush, 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 then reversed on itself, shoo, 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 as if the room were playing us backward. "Don't anthropomorphize," John said, but his fingers tightened on the gimbal. Something tiny ticked across the countertop, a quick patter like insect feet. But when we looked, nothing moved. "Let's get B-roll and go," Sarah said. Anna was the empath. B-roll found her. She drifted toward a restraint chair, bolted to the floor, vinyl cracked straps buckled through chrome loops. On the armrest, a speaker grill had been mounted under the vinyl seams, dark with old cleanings. When Anna brushed it, the grill let out a faint paper-dry crackle, the same sound dead leaves make when a shoe tests them. "The voice box," she said. "They piped it right into your skin." The chair's buckle tongues clinked against the loops with two cautious taps, like someone testing politeness. "Anna don't," Sarah began, but the empath had already sat. She didn't strap in. She set her hands on her knees, palms up. "Sometimes you don't get answers from the doorway," she said. A low sine tone uncoiled under the floor, a single note like a refrigerator waking almost subsonic. It rose until we felt it in our molars. Mike Sarah barked. "Kill the tone." "It's not us," he said, eyes wide at the mixer. "It's nowhere in the chain." The tone gathered a slow oscillation, wah, wah, like a heartbeat flattened into a siren and smoothed with anesthetic. "Anna, up," John said. Anna's eyes filmed over, not fogged, focused somewhere else. "It wants stillness," she whispered. The speaker in the armrest crackled again, then produced a faint breath-shaped syllable. "Comply." "Up," John said again, louder. At the far cabinet, a tray of capped syringes vibrated in place with a grasshopper buzz, then skittered toward the lip with a whisper of plastic on plastic. Mike Serra snapped. He lunged, caught the tray before it spilled. The syringes danced in their lanes. Every metal surface in the room gave a near-silent tremble, the barest chime like a chorus of teaspoons breathing. Anna flinched. "Don't talk," she said. "It's a test." The sine tone climbed a half-step, sharpening into a dentist drill thinness that prickled the skin behind our ears. John grabbed her wrist. "We're done. Up." All at once, 50 tiny plastic caps popped in staccato around the room, like a bag of knuckles getting cracked by an impatient god. The needles lay exposed. None of them flew, not yet. They stood there like a field of silver grass, deciding which way to lean. "Move," Sarah ordered. The armrest speaker whispered a single command, "Still." And the straps twitched against the buckles with a leathery creak. Anna jerked free and stood. "Okay," she said, voice threadbare. "Okay." Something hissed, a thin syringe breath sliding across the tile, and then one needle zipped by her cheek with a mosquito whine close enough to comb a hair. "Out," Sarah shouted. The room answered with a sound like rain finding roof, tin-tink, tink-tink, as 3 more needles struck the metal leg of the chair and bounced away. John threw his jacket around Anna's shoulders, trying to cover shield. The tone warbled higher, then split into 2 notes, the interference beating in our skulls with a helicopter thup-thup we couldn't escape. We moved as a unit, John pulling Anna, Sarah, backing Mike, covering toward the door. A dozen needles lifted from the tray and rattled together in a miniature saber dance, their points chiming faintly as they kissed. "Now," Mike Serra said. He hit the handle. The door's gasket made a wet peel but stuck, giving off a sticky suck that sounded like a Band-Aid leaving skin too soon. John cursed. He put a shoulder in. The needles clattered across the floor in a sudden skitter, then went quiet in a single breath. Holding pause, Anna looked back. It was only an inch, that look, but it was enough to put her near the restraint chair again. "They stopped," she said. From somewhere above, a new sound entered, a slow, rolling rattle of wheels, gurney wheels coming our way, bearing weight, the bearings clicking in a tired rhythm. John yanked the door. It didn't budge. Behind Anna, one of the IV poles rang with a thin, bright ping, as if struck by a fingernail. Anna Sarah said, "Come here." The armrest speaker breathed a single syllable. "Calm," cut off, followed by a dry reed-like buzz, like a straw being chewed. Anna Sarah again. The sine tone dropped bass-thick now, and the room resonated. Cabinet doors buzzed, counter edges hummed, and the tray of needles trembled like a silvered pond in wind. Anna put one palm on the chair, as if to steady herself. We heard it then, a soft chorus of metal-licking vinyl tiny needle points, tasting the seat, testing the seams, clicking like insect mouths. "Don't sit," John said. "Don't," she didn't. She froze, palms up again, eyes brimming with something that wasn't tears. "Okay," she whispered. "I hear you." 30 plastic packets sighed open at once, a tissue paper exhale that spidered around the room. Time snapped. There was a flurry of thin whistling high and fast, like grass blades being swung in the air filled with a faint stitched hiss. We shouted. 3 voices tangled our shouts, slamming into the walls and coming back as thinner, frightened versions of us. "Down," Sarah yelled, dragging at Anna's elbow. The needles struck not like bullets, not cinematic. Like decision's soft taps into vinyl, whisper pricks into fabric, tiny rapid ticks that made a zipper out of the chair's shadow. Anna jolted. She wasn't pierced through like a pincushion. The room wasn't that theatrical. But her sleeves and scarf blossomed into hedgehog quills, and there were too many points finding skin in too little time. She sucked in a breath that rasped a scraped note that had more apology than pain. Cover her, Mike threw his backpack forward like a shield. A handful of needles pinged off its hard shell with sharp, insectile pips. John got behind Anna and wrapped her in his jacket, dragging. Sarah got the door another inch. The gurney in the hall rolled closer, its rattle filling the doorway gap, a get-out-of-the-way sound that didn't belong to living hands. We made it through. The moment we crossed the threshold, the tone cut out. Silence slapped the room so hard our ears rang with phantom whines. Then we were in the corridor, tugging Anna to the floor jacket still around her. The needles that had lodged in her clothes came free with gentle, careful hands. The ones that had found skin were small, shallow, too many. Somewhere overhead, a nurse call bell gave a single confused bing like a question that had lost its words. "I'm okay," Anna said. It was the kind of thing you say to convince the building, not your friends. Her breath was quick, but even. The elevator behind us pinged again, same clean chime, souring flat like a polite grin going wrong. "Med kit," Mike said, already rummaging. "I've got wipes and bandages. No grossness, I promise." We filmed what we had to without making it a spectacle. We framed hands, not wounds. We framed faces. Anna held Sarah's gaze. "They used notes as orders," she said. "People are very obedient when hurt. Sound makes it easier." Down the hall, a radio crackle fluttered to life. A dispatcher voice chopped into syllables we couldn't quite parse, Calry sus, and then it died with a soft pop. "We're leaving," Sarah said. "We got proof. We don't need every fluorescent fixture along the corridor, woke at once in a synchronized electric tick. Not lighting, just clicking like teeth-counting numbers we couldn't see. "We're leaving," Sarah repeated, firmer for the camera and the building. We retraced toward archives, then past, aiming for the elevator. The green lines on the floor seemed to have shifted, or maybe we had. Mike kept scanning for signal anomalies. John kept the frame steady, doing the thing he did hide fear under craft. As we moved, the pipes above us began a slow, rhythmic knock. 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, like someone tapping a spoon on a bed rail to ask for water. "Don't respond to it," Sarah said. The knock got closer, the metal carrying it, with a hollow bone chime quality that set our shoulders up near our ears. We rounded a corner and found the auditory suite. It had a window like a radio station's double-glazed, angled to kill reflection. Inside a chair, headphones with thick rubber muffs, a console with sliders, and a reel-to-reel deck whose tape had fossilized into a dark band. Without warning, the deck clicked, the playhead thunked, and the reels gave a single, useless half-turn that squeaked like a door toyed with by a bored child. John filmed through the glass. "That's our A-roll," he said, and it almost sounded like him. From the ceiling speaker in the hall, a voice came through as if swallowed by gravel. "Patient 27, compliance, begin." Each word separated by pockets of hiss. Anna closed her eyes. They kept you awake with sounds until you behaved. If you didn't, they added needles. A faraway clatter burst out stainless steel basins cascading in an empty room, then settled into a single bowl rolling in a wobbly circle, its rim singing a diminishing ring. Sarah put a hand on Anna's shoulder. "We're done here." From behind the door of the auditory suite, headphones that no one wore settled against the chair with a soft, cushioned scuff, followed by the tiniest squeak of rubber on vinyl. We didn't go in. The elevator waited at the end. It should have been waiting. That's how stories grant a favor when they've taken something else. We reached the alcove. Before we could press anything, the elevator groaned low. Then the doors opened by themselves with a wheeze that tasted like old soap. "Don't," Anna said softly. "It wants us to ride." Inside the car, the speaker exhaled a breathy syllable, down deeper, now more sure of itself, followed by a faint relay click in the panel. Stairs, Sarah decided. Service stairs. We go up on our feet. Behind us, something small skittered in the dark, the quick, dry scrabble of instruments in a tray, deciding to practice. We found the stair door. It opened without complaint, the only courtesy Whitaker offered. The stairs rose in tight half flights. We took them slow, collecting breaths and ourselves. From within the stairwell walls, we heard water traveling glug-glug through a trapped pipe, then a fading trickle like someone finally got their drink. On the landing between basement and one, we paused. Anna had color again. She gave us a smile that tried to be reassurance and landed as courage. Above us, the fire door at one vibrated in its frame with a low threatening buzz as if a heavy cart leaned on it from the other side. "Different exit," John said. We tried too. We climbed to the next landing. This door too shivered softer, then offered a whispery scrape along the threshold like a gown hem passing. "Two it is," Sarah said, forcing lightness. She pushed the bar. The door unlipped with a gentle, breathy puff, and the corridor beyond let out a cool sigh that smelled of iodine and dusk. We stepped onto floor 2, patient room's nurse's station within sight. The signage felt more civilian, less war. For 1 second, the hospital returned to being a place where people tried to live. Then the overhead paging system bleeped 3 notes in a cheery pattern, the third note sagging, and a voice announced in a silky slurry, "Code demonstration in Theater C, all observers report," before dissolving into a low, velvety hum. "Not observers," Sarah said. "We're leaving." Footsteps padded somewhere out of sight, soft, slippered pacing, even then, stopping just beyond the corner with a hush. We edged past the nurse's station. Someone had taped a schedule to the desk, Trial E observations. Anna paused at the name without meaning to. It wasn't her. It belonged to 6 different patients who had once been numbers, and now weren't even that. A call light on room 214 blinked, and with each blink, it gave a faint plastic click, like a tongue finding a chipped tooth. We didn't go in. From the open doorway of Theater C instruments whispered a faint nestling sound, forceps finding tray scissors touching scalpel like a polite team getting ready. "That's enough," Sarah said. And for once, no one argued. At the junction that would take us to the lobby, the corridor narrowed, and the lights overhead were gone, gutted by someone who'd salvaged copper long ago. We switched to headlamps. Our lamps made a thin, high transformer whine the human ear barely catches, and beneath it, the floor returned a damp, soft slap from our shoes. We reached the last corner before the lobby. There, a single surgical mask lifted from the floor in a tiny paper rustle and dragged itself 2 inches as if inhaled by a mouth we couldn't see. Anna stopped. Not fear attention. "Do you hear that?" she asked. We did a child's toy rattle very far away, shaken once, then dropped the beads, whispering to rest. "I don't film kids," Sarah said, and there was iron in it. "We're not making that content." Somewhere ahead, automatic doors thumped softly against their stoppers once, twice, like someone testing whether they still parted. The lobby was just beyond. The taped X's on the floor from part 1 waited like footsteps we'd left ourselves. A gust moved through, and with it came a faraway ambulance yowl, stretched thin, its Doppler wrong climbing when it should fall. Sarah squared to the camera. "We came for the truth," she said. "Here it is." Whitaker turned sound into a scalpel. "We're leaving before it cuts again." The PA clicked a dry throat cleared in a speaker, and a new instruction slid out in a nurse's bedtime voice. "Prepare theater. Scalpel ready." John lowered the lens only an inch. From theater C, stainless trays rang in layered, delicate tings, bright as glass rain. "Keep moving," Sarah said. We stepped into the lobby's open mouth the night beyond, like a mercy we could almost touch. Behind us, 100 small metal feet began to tinkle over tile scalpels or clamps we didn't look. And the sound gathered speed, a careful patter turning to a pursuit. "Run," Sarah said, not a scream, a decision. As we broke forward, the overhead fixtures gave one long, mournful buzz, and something in the walls wailed a thin, fluted keen that followed our backs. We hit the front doors. At our heels, the patter blossomed into sharp, merry clinks, a rain of instruments giggling against each other as they skipped. Anna didn't scream. She turned her head just once toward Theater C. In that heartbeat of stillness, the hospital breathed in one long collective intake that sounded like paper and steel and dust remembering their shape. Then we were outside, cold air, night insects, the earthly noise of a town that had no idea what its forgotten building had learned to do. Behind the glass, the lobby let go a final sound, and the clean, ceremonial tone of a theater bell struck, once hanging in the air, like a promise. Anna swayed. "I'm okay," she said. From deep inside, a single needle tinked against the door glass, a polite tap, "Excuse me," that asked whether we might like to come back. We didn't. We turned our faces to the parking lot lights and didn't notice the shadow that had come along with us until it lengthened wrong beside Sarah, taller and thinner than the bodies that cast it. Somewhere between us and the building, a voice as soft as gauze whispered along the asphalt, "Observe." We kept filming. The corridor stretched long and pale, lined with closed patient doors, whose windows were painted black from the inside. The green glow of our headlamps pooled on peeling wallpaper, once a cheerful floral print, now a funeral veil. The air vents whispered a constant hiss, too steady to be natural, like someone was holding the building's breath. From somewhere deeper in the wing, a slow, dragging shuffle echoed heel first, then toe, repeating at a patient's pace. This floor. This is where they kept them between experiments, Anna said. She leaned against the wall. Her bandages shone white in the beam. Sarah raised the camera. "Document," she said, voice clipped but steady. "We're not imagining anything." A fluorescent tube above us buzzed alive with a high insectile whine, then died in a hollow pop, scattering a sprinkle of glass. Mike hissed air between his teeth. That was right over us. We pressed on. The nurse's station stood abandoned, its circular desk strewn with clipboards, pens petrified in cups. A single calendar hung crooked, stopped at October 15 years back. The intercom chimed with 3 notes, the last sagging flat, followed by a woman's voice whispering, "Observation begins," before fading into a paper-dry crackle. John cursed softly. He kept filming hands tight. They're still paging. Anna's face had gone pale, but her eyes burned bright. They want us to be witnesses. Same as before. Same as their patients. We reached room 218. The door stood slightly ajar. On its placard, the number was scratched until unreadable, the digits gouged deep as claw marks. Inside the bed, springs groaned low, slow bending under invisible weight, and the IV pole clicked twice as if its wheels turned against tile. Sarah lifted her hand. Do not go in. But the door nudged itself wider. A cold rush slid past, carrying the faint squeal of rubber gloves snapping onto unseen hands. Mike's flood caught the bed. The mattress was ripped open, stuffing scattered like organs. On the wall above the headboard, a phrase was scrawled in dried brown, "Silence is pain." The heart monitor at the bedside, dark and unplugged, chirped once a single electronic beep, flat and mocking. Anna clutched her scarf. They punished quiet. You had to scream, or they made you bleed. Behind her, the hallway filled with faint, sobbing, layered voices, rising and breaking, then cutting off in mid-gasp. Sarah snapped move. We left the room half open, the sobbing chasing us a few steps before vanishing. The corridor narrowed, ending in double doors marked surgical observation. The glass windows were covered with opaque plastic, clouded and warped. From beyond the doors, surgical instruments clinked gently together, a rhythm of preparation, like a tray being set for a patient. Mike tightened the straps of his pack. Do we open it? No, Sarah said. Not unless we're forced. The overhead paging clicked on again, a microphone being tapped, thud, thud, before a flat male voice murmured, "Scalpel ready. Patient compliant." John's jaw clenched. He filmed anyway. We kept walking. Room after room showed the same bed's overturned walls scribbled with single words. Listen. Comply. Bleed. Once a curtain rail screeched sharply, rings dragging like nails, though the curtain itself stayed stiff and unmoving. At room 230, Anna froze. She pointed with a trembling hand. On the bed lay a single hospital gown, folded neatly, but the pillow was indented as if someone's head still pressed down. From the pillow came a faint exhale, soft as gauze. Sarah pulled Anna away before she could step inside. Not this one. A crash erupted behind us, an empty wheelchair hurtling down the hall, its wheels squealing metal on metal until it slammed sideways against the wall. We spun cameras, catching it as it tipped over. Nothing pushed it. Mike swore, this place is showing off now. The chair's front wheels spun madly, clicking like a clock running too fast, before slowing into silence. We reached the stairwell at the end of the wing. Sarah tried the door locked from the other side. From the stairwell beyond, something hammered the metal 3 times, bang, 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 like fists demanding release. No good, she said, voice tight. We turned back. As we passed the surgical doors again, they began to open inch by inch. No hands, no push. The hinges groaned long and deep, aching like a throat trying to sing. Through the gap, a theater lamp flickered on, pouring cold light into the hall. Anna whispered, "Don't look in." Still we heard it, the wet snick of scalpels being laid out one by one on stainless steel, followed by the hollow clink of a metal bowl set onto a tray. Sarah yanked us onward. We ducked into room 235, slammed the door, and killed our lights. In the dark, our breaths rasped, harsh, uneven, louder than we wanted. From outside, footsteps and soft shoes padded by, slow, deliberate, then stopped right outside our door. We froze. The doorknob rattled gently, a patient test metal clicking against latch. Then silence, thick, oppressive silence. Minutes passed like years. Finally, Sarah nodded, and we slipped back into the corridor. The surgical doors were closed again, lamp dark. We moved fast, hearts pounding. Somewhere behind us, the intercom gave one last chime, 3 notes, the last broken into static, then a whisper. Next subject. We didn't wait to see who it meant. The corridor forked left toward the pediatric wing. That was where the whispers seemed to pull us, and where the smells sharpened, sterile alcohol laced with something metallic and sweet. From down the hallway came the rhythmic squeak of rubber soles, one slow step after another, as if a nurse on night rounds had never stopped walking. Anna tightened her scarf and shook her head. They're drawing us in. We shouldn't. Too late, Sarah said. It's all part of the story now. We moved cameras rolling. The pediatric ward was worse than the labs. Cribs lined the walls, their bars bent or missing. Plastic toys lay scattered, their colors sun-faded into corpse hues. Somewhere inside the ward, a child's mobile spun by itself, the dangling animals clacking softly together in a sad carousel. John swallowed. "I told you I don't film kids," he muttered, though the lens didn't turn away. Anna stopped at a door marked Injection Theater B. The placard was rusted, the letters almost erased. She touched the knob. Immediately, the metal sang a faint high whine, like feedback bleeding from a microphone. "Don't," Sarah warned. But the door opened on its own. Inside, the walls were lined with cabinets. Syringe racks gleamed in neat rows, untouched by dust. The center of the room held another restraint chair identical to the one in the basement, this one surrounded by scattered restraints and tubing. The overhead intercom clicked on with a dry cough, then whispered, "Patient. Enter." "Nope," Mike said, backing up. "We're out." But Anna's face had changed. Not curiosity, not fear, something quieter. "It wants me," she said. Sarah grabbed her wrist. "No, no one wants you." We all walk out. Anna pulled free. "You don't understand." I felt it in the basement. It called my name. "If I don't listen, it'll take you instead." The cabinet doors rattled softly like applause in a padded room. Mike raised the camera. Anna, she stepped inside. The chair waited, straps hanging loose. She sat. Her hands trembled, but she didn't resist. The air vents above gave a long, low hiss, steady and cruel, as though the hospital exhaled approval. Sarah lunged, but the door slammed between them. The lock clicked shut hard, final followed by the squeal of bolts sliding into place. Anna was inside. "Anna, get up!" Sarah shouted, pounding the glass. The PA hummed a low sine tone, "Oh," slowly growing louder until the walls vibrated. Anna pressed her palms flat against her thighs. "It's okay," she whispered. "If I comply, it won't hurt you." The syringe rack shivered hundreds of tiny taps as metal needles quivered in unison. "No," Sarah screamed. The tone jumped an octave sharper now, drilling into bone. At once, the syringes burst free from their racks with a staccato snap, snap, snap. They hovered, silver tips glinting, a cloud of needles surrounding Anna like metallic insects. She closed her eyes. "I'm ready." The intercom whispered, "Insert." The needles obeyed. The air filled with a hideous chorus of piercing sounds, thin hisses, wet punctures, rapid clicks as steel sank into skin and bone. Anna's body jolted as dozens, then hundreds of needles drove into her arms, legs, chest. Blood blossomed in red blooms against her clothes. Her scream ripped out high and ragged, echoing off tiles, splitting into multiple voices, until it sounded like a whole ward of patients crying with her. John dropped the camera. He couldn't look. Mike vomited against the wall. Sarah pounded the glass until her fists bled. The needles pumped in and out with mechanical precision, a sickening wet suck with each withdrawal, and then a sharp pop as they drove back in. Anna gasped, lips shaking. "Please stop!" The chair's restraints clamped shut with a metallic snap, holding her in place as the needles quickened pace, clicking like a swarm of cicadas. Blood streaked down her arms, pooling under the chair. The intercom voice sighed. Silence. And Anna's scream cut off as if a switch had flipped. Her head sagged forward. The needles retracted all at once. Their withdrawal made a grotesque synchronized squelch, followed by the delicate tink-tink-tink of metal raining into trays. For one long second she sat upright, blood-dripping eyes open but unseeing. Then she collapsed sideways, lifeless, sliding off the chair. The heart monitor at her side gave one clean final beep, then flatlined in silence. Sarah fell against the glass, sobbing. No. Mike pulled her back. John lifted the camera again, pale and shaking. We can't leave her in there. The PA chimed softly, 3 notes, cheerful and wrong, ding-ding-dong, then whispered, "Next patient." The door unlocked with a metallic click. It opened by itself, slowly revealing Anna's body, sprawled on the tiles, syringes scattered like bones. We didn't move. None of us dared step closer. Sarah's hands shook so hard she could barely hold the camera. "We're ending this," she said. "Right now." Behind us, from deep in the corridor, a gurney began to roll its wheels, rattling faster and faster, clanging like applause. We ran. We ducked into a side corridor. Cracked tiles, paint curling off. Ahead, patient recovery rooms, half-collapsed ceilings. Mike panted, voice sharp. "We stick to one rule, keep moving up." Sarah nodded. "Stairs or windows? Doesn't matter. Out." Somewhere above vents moaned a hollow womb, rising and falling like lungs wheezing. From deep inside the walls, thin surgical blades scraped tile with a grating shk, shk, shk. We reached recovery. Inside room 301, a hospital bed stood upright, almost ceremonial sheets, clean though untouched for years. The metal frame gave a high creak, stretching like a mouth opening. John muttered, "Don't stop. Oh, don't." The door slammed shut behind us. The latch clacked twice, followed by a sharp hiss like oxygen tanks bleeding. Mike shoved his light toward the bed. The frame flexed its joints, moving on their own. The motor inside coughed once, then began to whir gears, clicking alive though no power fed them. The bed tilted, clamping upward jaws of steel. "Get back!" Sarah yelled. Too late, Mike was closest. The frame snapped shut like a predator. The bed crashed down with a gut-wrenching crack of bone and metal, followed by Mike's scream, muffled and short cut off as the frame slammed flat. Sarah and John dragged at it, but the bed locked itself in place. The motor whined high-pitched and satisfied, then wound down into silence. Blood leaked from under the mattress, dark and spreading. Next, Mike was gone. No Sarah whispered voice raw. Not him too. John clenched his jaw, pale and hollow-eyed. "We keep moving." The intercom chimed, ding, 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 and a calm voice crooned, "2 remain." We stumbled back into the corridor. The gurney had vanished, but the air shimmered with the cold of something still near. We reached another hall marked Surgery Theater. The doors creaked open as we approached. Inside, surgical lights buzzed alive, a hard electric zzz flooding the room with sterile white. Tables stood ready, tools arranged in perfect rows. No dust, no decay. The scalpels rose one by one, scraping against trays with a chorus of bright metallic chings. John froze. Oh God. The scalpels shot forward with whistling speed, slicing the air with a shrill wee. He ducked once, twice, but the third found him. a wet tearing sound as steel carved through his chest, followed by a hollow thud as his body hit the tiles. Another scalpel pinned his hand to the floor. Another slid across his throat. His scream strangled into a gurgling choke. Then silence, only the metallic tink of scalpels clattering around his body. Sarah fell to her knees, sobbing. John, but his eyes were already glassy, staring at ceiling lights that hummed brighter, almost triumphant. The intercom whispered, "One remains." Sarah staggered up. Blood streaked her shirt. Camera still rolling, she pressed forward, stumbling through the surgical wing. Doors burst open to the emergency exit stairwell. She slammed through, running down the steps 2 at a time. Each step groaned wood and steel bending, echoing hollow booms that chased her descent. She hit the lobby again. The front doors loomed moonlight, glinting through broken glass. Freedom. But the hospital wasn't finished. The fire alarm shrieked a piercing whoop, whoop, vibrating walls until dust rained down. From every corridor, metal clanged, wheels rattled, scalpels clinked together like cutlery, eager for a feast. Sarah sprinted, hand outstretched. The automatic doors slammed shut with a thunderous bang, glass rattling like bones. "No," she screamed, ramming her shoulder. The PA hummed low and calm, "Prepare final procedure." Then pain searing white-hot. From behind, a guillotine-sharp swish cut the air, followed by a meaty chop, and Sarah's scream ripped the lobby as her arm fell away in a spray of blood. She staggered forward, clutching the stump. The blood pattered the tiles in irregular drops. Tap, 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 tap. She slammed herself against the doors again, weaker, weaker, and then mercy, the doors slid open. Cold night air rushed in. Sarah stumbled out, collapsing onto the pavement, blood pooling under her. She turned the camera toward herself, pale eyes wide. "If anyone sees this, don't come here. Please, it doesn't let you leave." Behind her, the hospital groaned with a deep, resonant moan, glass rattling in frames like the whole building laughing low. She dragged herself across the asphalt. The last shot the camera caught was her shadow stretching long in the floodlights. But there was another shadow behind her, thin, tall, faceless. A faint whisper floated across the night, soft as gauze brushing skin. "Observe." The screen cut to black.